It's Monday, July 27th, and here's what you need to know by noon. Over the weekend, the shooting stopped, and the price of oil fell off a cliff. That's where we start. Plus, an attack on Berlin's Pride Parade. Europe's wildfires got dramatically worse, and Wednesday is shaping up to be the biggest day of the year for your retirement account. Let's get into it. For the first time in nearly 2 weeks, the United States and Iran are not shooting at each other. As of this morning, it's the third straight night with no strikes from either side, after 13 consecutive nights of American strikes. Iran's army spokesman said on state television that Tehran has halted its retaliatory operations. Neither side is calling this a ceasefire. Both are calling it space for talks. Markets reacted immediately. Oil had its biggest drop of the entire war. U.S. crude fell about 7.5% to roughly $83 a barrel, and Brent fell about the same, to roughly 91. The Dow was up more than 400 points before the open. But hold on to that, because here's the part that matters for your budget. Even after that drop, oil is still up about 18% this month and 25% this year. The pause takes the top off the price. It doesn't undo the war's price. What's being negotiated is a framework signed in June. Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz and reaffirms it won't develop nuclear weapons. The United States lifts its naval blockade and drops sanctions, with 60 days to close a full deal. The sticking point is the strait itself. A regional official involved in the mediation says the compromise on the table would let Iran manage traffic through Hormuz with fewer restrictions on ships. 2 cautions. The blockade is still running. The pause is on strikes, not on the naval operation. And the war got wider over the weekend, not narrower. Ukraine struck an Iranian commercial vessel in the Caspian Sea, killing a sailor, and Iran's foreign minister said it cannot go unanswered. So, both readings. The administration's case is that the pressure campaign worked and brought Iran to the table. The skeptics' case is that 3 quiet nights inside a war that began in February, after a June framework that already broke down once, is not a peace. One analyst at the Washington Institute put it carefully: if it turns into a multi-day pause, that'll be something significant. Now the rest of today's news. First, Berlin. On Saturday night, a van drove into a crowd near the route of Berlin's Christopher Street Day parade, one of the largest pride events in Europe, in the city's Tiergarten Park. The van hit a tree, and the driver then attacked people with a machete. The parade was called off minutes later. 1 person was killed, and at least 29 people were injured, 3 of them critically. Authorities identified the suspect as a 21-year-old man, born in Germany, known to police as part of Berlin's Islamist scene. In May, a Berlin juvenile court convicted him of preparing serious acts of violence and publishing Islamic State propaganda. He received a suspended sentence and was free pending appeal. After a manhunt of nearly 24 hours, police found him Sunday evening in the Spandau district. Police say he ran at officers armed with a bladed weapon and was shot. He died at the scene. Germany's interior minister said everything authorities see points to an Islamic terror attack aimed at dividing German society. The chancellor called it an abhorrent act. And there is a real political argument underway in Germany right now about that suspended sentence and the appeal that left him free. We're telling you the argument exists. We're not going to settle it for you. Second, Europe's wildfires, Saturday's lead, have gotten significantly worse. Evacuations across France and Spain have climbed from about 200,000 to more than 325,000, and 3 people have now died, including 2 firefighters near Bordeaux. In France's Gironde region, 84 firefighters have been injured, and at least 240 homes destroyed. And it isn't over. Another heat wave arrives Tuesday in southwest France, with highs near 104 degrees. And third, your money. Circle Wednesday. 2 enormous things land on the same day. The Federal Reserve announces its decision Wednesday afternoon, and this one is unusual. Markets aren't debating a rate cut. They're pricing the odds of a rate hike at roughly 1 in 3. Rates have sat at 3.5% to 3.75% for 5 straight meetings, and Chair Kevin Warsh has given almost no guidance. Holding steady is still the likeliest outcome, and a falling oil price, if it holds, argues against a hike. Then hours later, Microsoft and Meta report earnings the same day, Apple and Amazon Thursday. They're walking into a market that has turned hostile toward AI spending. Alphabet raised its capital budget this year to $205 billion, posted its first negative quarterly free cash flow since 2004, and fell 7%, despite cloud revenue growing 82%. Microsoft is down 21% this year. As one chief investment officer put it, investors used to think the more spending the better. Now it's the less the better. And at the pump, the national average for regular gas is $4.11 a gallon, up about 12 cents from a week ago, and up 95 cents, nearly $1, from a year ago. If today's drop in oil holds, it takes roughly 2 to 3 weeks to reach the sign at your corner station. So what should you watch? Wednesday's collision, the Fed and Microsoft and Meta on the same day. Whether the pause becomes an actual ceasefire, with that 60-day clock running, and the blockade still up. And Tuesday's heat wave in southwest France, arriving on fire ground where 250,000 people have already been moved. That's Monday. Caught up. The guns went quiet, and oil fell 7.5%. An attack on Berlin's Pride Parade, Europe's fires spreading, and a Wednesday that could move your retirement account twice. We keep it straight, and we keep it quick. This is No by Noon. That's where things stand. See you tomorrow.